Warning. This program contains strong language, auditory violence, and mental nudity. It is intended only for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised. The dust from Blizzcon 2018 is just beginning to settle, but the fallout from our yearly convention of delights is just getting started. Welcome back, all, for episode 40 of the Unshackled Fury podcast, your uncensored home for all things Warcraft. I am your host, Berzerker, and with me, as always, is the Panthro to my Lion-O. He is Navox. Welcome back again, sir.
Yeah, man. Back-to-back episodes is pretty nice. But we got something big to happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Only BlizzCon can bring us together
a weekly
sooner than 2 weeks. This is how it works. So here we are. We've survived yet another BlizzCon. We are on the other side. As promised, you did not watch the virtual ticket.
I did not watch the virtual ticket. No.
And we did give it away.
That's right. My ticket was given away.
To a very appreciative winner of our contest, let me say. Edgar Poe was very appreciative and patient.
That's nice.
So we've got a ton to cover today, and this convention is not even yet, 24 hours over with. I mean, it's only been over for like 14, 15 hours at the point that we're recording here, so there's a lot that's still being sorted through. There's more interviews that are coming out from all of our favorite websites and other content creators. So there's going to be more information coming. But this week, I think just coming fresh off the heels of the convention, what you and I are looking to do, just hit the major stuff that we saw just over the past couple of days. Whatever was in the opening, what we had in the What's Next panel, touch on a couple of the other panels, Q&A, all that jazz. We're just going to start diving right into it. But first, before anything else, I've got a rage segment that is going to be it's full of first world problems, as many of my problems typically are. But this one involves not just me, but a few other people, and it's kind of a statement on the virtual ticket system as a whole. So why don't we just cut the foreplay and jump right into it?
Let's rage.
So before I actually get to the virtual ticket itself and my experience trying to watch it this year, which ultimately I did, so I'm gonna throw out that caveat. Before we even get there, first we have to talk about Blizzard's rules when it comes to sending gifts through the Battle.net account system. So as our listeners know, we had 3 winners of our talent contest to win your virtual ticket. We had Edgar Poe, who won the virtual ticket. We had Graves, who won the mount, thanks to his child. And we had Terraburn, who won a pet, who still needs to tell us which pet he wants, through his Jiu-Jitsu extravaganza. Now, in making good on our word, I went to go purchase these prizes once we had been notified by our winners, so I could send them their gifts through Battle.net. So I decided, hey, got to do the big prize first. I go into my Battle.net account. I can only purchase 1 virtual ticket per account. Okay, fine. So I create sort of a dummy account for this show, which is probably a good idea that I'm not using my personal account, I suppose. So I create one for the show, so now UF Show now exists on Battle.net, and I go in there, and I'm like, okay, I'll type in Poe's Battle.net ID that he gave us. Do that, click on the thing. Oh, no. We have to be friends for 3 days before I can send him a gift. Well, this was like Wednesday night. So that means, or it was Tuesday night. So that means not until Friday night, after 1 day of the convention has already come and gone, can I send this to him. So in a panic, I call up Blizzard customer support, and I say, hey, guys, is there any way around this? We got a prize winner here, and because, as you know, this is coming from Nav and I. This is not some, like, gift that we got from Blizzard. We're giving away our own shit here. So I call them up, say, hey, is there any way around this? Nope, sorry, it's hardwired into the system. There's no way around it. So unfortunately, I discovered, and this was also true of the mount that we gave away, we had to wait 3 full days until we could give those things away. So coming out of that, I'm already kind of irritated that this has happened. Because one, I don't like to make people wait when we promise them things. But two, it's just kind of irritating because I probably could have read the rules or done something somewhere, to be fair. But I didn't really expect that was going to be a problem for us. Now, on Thursday was kind of my prep day. I had tried to troubleshoot any tech issues and do all my shopping and all that kind of stuff. I go into my TV because I've got a nice fancy TV that has a web browser in it. And last year we'd been able to watch videos from BlizzCon through the web page on that web browser. Yeah, pretty sweet. I pull it up, no videos. Like, well, that doesn't seem right. I go through any updates, no updates. Can I look at other pages? I can look at other pages. Every time I went to pull up a video through this web browser on the virtual ticket page, nothing showed up. Nothing. Not even a video to click on. 0. I go, well, shit, that's not good. All right, what are my other options? Well, this year, it turns out that the Amazon Fire Stick has an app. Oh, I've got one of those. Fire it up, download the app. Sweet. Pull it up. There's all the menus. There's all the games. There's stuff from last year. There's all the 41 videos from the BlizzCon virtual ticket stuff from this year. Awesome. I'm like, you know what? There's a cool one here about archive stuff for Warcraft. I'm going to pull it up. I pull it up, click play. Oh, there's an error. Please retry. Wait, what? Hit retry. Oh, there's an error. Please retry. Well, that's not good. Hit it again. Please retry. I'm like, maybe the video sucks. Go to a different video. There's been an error. Please retry. Every single video I tried could not play. I'm like, well, this is not good. I go to the forums. Ha! There are indeed other people claiming that they have an Amazon Fire Stick with the app, will not play videos. Customer support says, hey, because I did reach out on Twitter, we forwarded this problem. Other people are looking into it. Please sit tight. Well, I can't sit tight because it's Thursday. The thing starts Friday morning. I got to figure this out now. I'm like, okay, what can I do? All right, Internet, what are the solutions here? I can try to mirror my phone or my iPad to the TV through an adapter. All right, cool. Go to Best Buy. Get an adapter. Get an HDMI cord. Come back to the house. Pull up the app. Hey, look, there's my phone on the TV. That's kind of awkward. Hope I'm not looking at any kind of porn. All right, let's hook it up. There's the virtual ticket app. Sweet. Pull it up. Great. Start playing a video. It goes black.
Oh, no.
Like, wait a minute. I had been warned that there were some videos that would not be able to play through this system that, and I don't understand tech enough to know this, that some systems are built in such a way that you cannot do what I was trying to do. Netflix and HBO Go, I think, are the two most notorious examples where they make sure that if you try to use a device to stream it to your television this way, that it cannot be done.
Oh, jeez.
So now my web browser doesn't work, my Amazon Fire Stick doesn't work, and I can't mirror it using this adapter. And I am now running out of time. It's now like 9 o'clock Thursday night. Go back to the BlizzCon website. Is there any other way that I can watch BlizzCon? Well, it turns out there's one left. Apple TV has an app, just like Fire Stick does. So I take my happy ass back to Best Buy, turn my adapter back in, and go spend a bunch of money that I had never intended to spend to get Apple TV hooked up to my big TV. Now, the benefit is we're an Apple household. We have iPads, we have iPhones, always have for a long time. It's not like we're not going to use this thing, but it was not an expense that I had anticipated. I hook it up, pull up the app. There's the app. Beautiful, beautiful UI, great interface, the whole thing. It says, okay, I got a link to my account. Okay, go to blizzard.com/activate, pull up the code. I go to blizzard.com/activate, pull up the code. Code is successful. Nothing happens on my TV screen.
Oh, jeez.
Refresh, retry, try it again. Same result. Nothing happens. Try it again, third time. Nothing happens. I am now at this point laying on my couch, wondering what horrible death may happen at the hands of this situation. And I say, I think I need to take a break. I think I need to just eat some tacos. That's how this is gonna get resolved. While I'm eating, one, I remember that because this is an Apple product, I can just mirror now my iPad to the television. So really, it's not like I had a problem to begin with. But there's got to be a way to make this app work. After dinner, I decided, okay, I'm gonna take the app off. I'm gonna re-download it. I'm gonna try it again. I re-download. I try it again. Works just fine. So after all of that, finally got it to work. After 2 trips to an electronics store, a busted app on one device, and a completely podunk, blown up version on something else, I finally was able to stream the virtual ticket in my house. And I have to say, I understand that the virtual ticket is built for a computer, that you have it on your computer, you have it on your phone, or whatever the thing is. But it should not be this difficult to stream the virtual ticket on a TV.
I'm surprised you had to go get the Apple TV, because even on their website, it shows that, Apple TV 2 Plus running 5.0 or later supported. It shows that Amazon Fire TV supported. The Fire Stick and the Fire Cube are both supported. You should have just been good to go with just the Fire Stick that you had, but
So it seems that eventually it may have worked for some versions for some people. I think it kind of depends on how old your Fire Stick was or your device was. But here's the point that I want to make about all this, is that these app developers, all the people involved in this process, really need to develop that overarching Blizzard philosophy of let's only put it out when it's actually ready. Because with the number of people that were having a problem with the Fire Stick in particular, that should never happen. Especially when you are advertising for it. You're telling people, hey, Amazon Fire Stick, get the app, you can do this.
I know I didn't get it this year, but they should have something for the Android phones, especially where you can just Chromecast it. I Chromecast everything. I love Chromecast. I love, just...
I think they did have it this year.
Oh, okay. I don't know, because I didn't see it as an available thing that you could Chromecast. So
I think this year was the first year that you could, perhaps, because I did see an update to the app, to the BlizzCon app itself this year that said something about Chromecast.
Last year, I took my laptop upstairs and downstairs, plugging my laptop into the HDMI port. That's what I did last year to watch the virtual ticket. So
there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. And and here's the thing, is that maybe that's something that's usual for other people and that's like a regular thing, and maybe it's because of my age, I don't know. But I should just be able to pull up the thing that you tell me I can pull up and it should work.
Yeah, and also it should have worked on your TV from the browser. It should have absolutely worked from that. I mean, it's crazy. It's
I mean, maybe that's a Samsung problem, and I can forgive that to a degree, but when you're jacking up the price, because it was $50 this year now for the virtual ticket, and I think you and I have somewhat debated the merits of the virtual ticket this year in terms of, we used to get mounts and we used to get other things, and it seemed a little lackluster this year. I'm going to jump way ahead all the way to the end of BlizzCon. The closing ceremonies didn't even go till 10.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You had 3 acts. I think Train maybe played for maybe an hour, and Christian Nairn was there. They staggered the start times, but Lindsey Sterling, who was goddamn, I wish I could bottle an ounce of that energy just to drink for my life. She was phenomenal. She's the only one that went almost to the end of the time.
Oh, wow.
Everybody else skipped out early. So I'm not so convinced that the virtual ticket is quite worth the money. Now, listen, I'm still going to buy it and do the thing in years, forward. But I really hope that this is an opportunity for them to make a few course corrections, because I feel like people do have some valid complaints that the virtual ticket did not quite justify the increase in price this year. And I hope that going forward, perhaps they look into making sure that, 1, the tech works, and 2, that maybe you're compensated a little bit more with some things that perhaps didn't quite come along this year. So, at any rate, there was a fair amount of rage at Casa Berzerker in the lead up to BlizzCon, but in the end, we got it all worked out. But man, woo! There was a rise in blood pressure to get there.
You weren't the only one going through this. I watched Twitter because I had a tweet deck up and I was looking at all of the BlizzCon. I had hashtag BlizzCon and hashtag BlizzCon 2018, and that's how I kind of kept up to date on the announcements and the happenings and the whatnot. There were a lot of people between the Diablo rage that happened. There were a lot of people that were requesting refunds on the virtual ticket because they couldn't get stuff to play. So you weren't the only one experiencing this little hiccup in the system.
No. Oh no! But at the end of the day, we figured it out. It was a hiccup, and then we went on to BlizzCon, which this was. We talked about how this was going to be kind of a down year for Warcraft because there wasn't like a super huge expansion announcement, but there was still a lot of really good stuff that happened this year. So why don't we go ahead and just dive into all of the greatness that was BlizzCon 2018. So as is usual with BlizzCons, we started off on day one with the opening ceremonies, and lo and behold, Mike Morhaime made an appearance.
Yeah, that was nice.
I was shocked. I always love his speeches, as I've said many, many times before. I got the feeling that this was indeed, as others had suggested, an opportunity for them to do the symbolic passing of the torch, although it would have been kind of neat if they'd done a literal one, I suppose. But we got probably one of the most awkward photo ops of all time when Morhaime, came out and he did his spiel and loved it as always. And then he brought out J. Allen Brack and they kind of stood there and held each other for a couple of minutes while everybody took photos. And I don't know about you, but I started to dive under a pillow because I was like, whoa, this is getting a little awkward. But after that, and this was during J. Allen Brack's portion where he came out and said his piece, there was kind of this weird, and I have not seen any explanation of it as of yet, is people were holding up while he was talking these cardboard cutout things with eye spaces in. What was that?
That was a weird stunt. I don't know what that was. It was some weird card stunt that they were trying to do, and I don't know if the people had their cards backwards. I don't know if it was supposed to be blue and red or they
were all white.
I almost wonder if it was supposed to spell out thanks Mike or something like that or something. Maybe they tried to do something where they had the crowd hold it up because they had to hold, they had the eye holes cut in there.
Yeah.
And it was very, very odd.
And there's been no explanation whatsoever as to what that was supposed to be.
Yeah, there's been none whatsoever.
The people in the crowd don't even know what it is.
Nope. They're just, here you go.
You make an interesting point, though, as to what that could have been. Is what if that was supposed to spell something out, but people didn't actually map it out and they just threw them under chairs because they lost the sheet and some volunteer didn't know what to do?
That could have happened. That absolutely could have happened.
That actually would have made a lot more sense, as if it was supposed to say something, but you spread it out over the crowd to spell something out, and they just botched it. That's going to be a future Q&A question. Alex Afraziabi, why were those cards out in the crowd and people didn't know what they were? Shout out to Moose Knuckle Guild. Yeah, I guess we'll find out. Well, other than seeing dear Mike Morhaime kind of get his, I guess it might be his send-off, at least as far as BlizzCons go, did get an opportunity to hear from J. Allen Brack, which I thought was nice. And the observation that I had, and I'm curious to hear what you think, is I felt like this was perhaps the answer to a question that I've been asking for a while, which is who exactly is J. Allen Brack when it comes to just him as a person and the vibe that we get from him as a leader, where in the past, he's been part of some of these other panels, but it's always been in my opinion, a little bit of sarcasm, a little bit of snark. He's famous for being the guy, and I've said it a million times too, is he was the guy who said, you think you do, but you don't, when it comes to Vanilla WoW. But what did you think about his speech and seeing him up there?
I think it was just a standard, hey, this is what we have planned going on with Blizzard. I mean, it's when you're dealing with the CEOs and the presidents of these businesses, they're on a different. They have to think about the whole picture in the grand scheme of things. I don't think they have so much. I don't necessarily know how much weight they have in the drive of story, rather than this is where this franchise needs to go, and this is where this franchise needs to go, and this is where we need to start doing this. But what I thought about it, I mean, every year, to me, whenever Mike came out, it was just like, hey, this is neat. This is the man. He's coming out. He's talking about he created Blizzard, and now he's talking about all of his stuff, and now it's almost it is. I mean, it's like when Bill Gates handed it over to Steve Ballmer, Microsoft. It's like, okay, well, it's still Microsoft, but it's just somebody else at the helm now, and
Mm-hmm.
But this guy came from the WoW development team, so that's cool. But I don't really have much to weigh in one way or another. I have more interests to hearing about what Ian has to say or what Alex has to say. Things that go to what I really care about, which is World of Warcraft, more than any of the other Blizzard titles. So
more on a granular level as opposed to the 30,000 foot view.
Exactly. Like I did not like. That's part of the reason, and that is part of the reason why I didn't opt in for the virtual ticket. Last year we got a mount and some other cool stuff, and it was a big year. It was for Battle for Azeroth, and this year was just I'm going to say BlizzCon Light. It feels like it was BlizzCon Light because there's usually always some big announcement, and this year
there was.
It was.
And we'll get to that.
We'll get to it, but it wasn't a wow, that's really cool, and I might play that. So it's I'm not going to be one of the haters or anything. If it's your thing, great, we'll talk about it. But to get back to your initial question, what did I think about J. Allen Brack coming out and his speech and whatnot? I feel like it's status quo. I feel like the company's moving along, and it was I kind of feel like there should have been a bigger send off for Mike in the grand scheme of things, but maybe he didn't want that. Maybe he was just like, no, that's it. This is it. And what kind of ticked me off was there was this guessing game of who's going to come out first. Is Mike going to be there? Is he going to come out, or is Jay going to come out? But prior to the show, they were doing interviews with some of the people who were involved with setting up BlizzCon. And there was an interview right before they went live, and you'll have to forgive me. I don't recall her name. I think she's one of the developers or somebody who puts on BlizzCon or part of that, but she had let out, she's like, well, Mike's going to lead us off and then we'll go from there. And I was like, oh, so Mike is there and Mike is going to lead off BlizzCon this year. I think it would have been nice if it was still a little bit of a surprise. Hey, there's Mike.
Where did you see that? Because I didn't hear anything.
Actually,
I had no idea.
I had messaged you. We were talking in Discord prior.
Did you send that to one of your other girlfriends?
I sent it to you at Friday at 2:01 p.m. I said, so she just let loose Mike, so we will have Mike kick it off. Because we were talking back and forth about you sent me the thing. You're like, look at this map. I'm like, yeah, I can see Corsair circled. You're like, there's 2 demos. I said, yeah, those are just demo areas. Tides of War and this is a conversation we were
Oh,
having.
I did get that. I had no idea what you meant.
Okay, so yeah, you'll have to forgive me. I don't remember her name off the top, but she let loose that Mike was coming out, and I was like, oh, all right, well, that was spoiled for me, and that was it. So yeah,
I totally missed it. I had completely. I guess when you sent me that, I just went whoop right over my head. I had no idea what you meant, so I guess it was still a surprise for me. But that is, huh? They don't usually do stuff like that, but I don't know. Maybe they just want to give people a sense of comfort. It's not all different. In fact, I kind of felt like this BlizzCon in some way was sort of like, if you had a subtitle, this one, call it everything that's old is new again.
yeah,
Or everything old is new again, or something. But so we had Morheim, we had Jalen Brack, and it was, at least in my eyes, nice to see Jalen Brack a little more humanized, I guess. I don't know if that's quite the right word I'm looking for, but I felt like I saw him in a bit of a different light, and not just because of title change, but like, okay, here's the human who's now in charge, and I feel like, okay, all right, I understand a little bit better of how people talk about him being somebody who embodies the values of Blizzard and who will be leading them, into the foreseeable future. So did feel better about that. Now, there were lots of announcements made, even just touched on briefly in the opening ceremony. We'll touch on the other ones real quick first before we get out of the good Warcraft stuff. First, we had, a 30-second mention for StarCraft. My God, sorry, StarCraft. That just...
really,
You have a new co-op commander, Zeratul.
yeah, that was it.
Cool.
Yeah.
God, what a great franchise. And by the way, first non-Korean StarCraft champion.
Really nice.
That was from Finland, I believe. Not the most loquacious individual when it comes to interviews after the fact, but man, he fucking dominated, and it was amazing. 20 plus years of StarCraft history, and he is the first non-Korean champion. I mean, that's a hell of a run.
He was like, thank you. That was it.
Yeah, it was. He wins, and he just kind of sits there for a second. He takes off his headphones real calmly, his earbuds out, and I'm just like, man, look at that guy. He is fucking pumped.
Ice cold.
But it was, brutal. But it was amazing. It was an amazing moment, and as somebody who, for me, I think StarCraft is right behind Warcraft in terms of my love of Blizzard franchises, I really do feel bad for StarCraft in that I don't really know where they go from here as a franchise. I'm sure that they have ideas. It's not clear to me as a player or a fan. The esports scene is still vibrant. I don't know if it is as vibrant as it once was, but it's still going pretty strong from what I can tell. So that's good. But from a story perspective, they kind of wrapped up all the storylines from the franchise. So I don't really know what they do other than keep pumping out these co-op commanders, which at a certain point, people aren't even going to really know who they are anymore because they're from stories from 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And like, oh, who is that? Oh, that's cool. All right. Heroes had a new character revealed, Orphea, who seems to be a high school girl who wears a coffin on her back.
That happened, and it's a heroes only hero. That's it. Didn't come from one of the other franchises.
Nope. But they did have the Squeaky King, the Skeleton King as a janitor.
Yeah.
Skin, which that looked pretty cool. I did like that. Apparently, that was a fan concept from 2 years ago that was introduced. So, if you are artistic, you never know. Overwatch had, of course, a pretty big splash as they are, I think, kind of the big show right now. Overwatch with
absolutely.
the league, and they're getting, I don't know how many millions of active players per month. I mean, they're a big deal right now. They had a phenomenal cinematic with McCree that was introduced at the opening ceremony, and it also introduced a couple of new characters. One being Ash, who is this badass Western chick with a shotgun kind of deal, who apparently was McCree's ex, or is McCree's ex. But she came with arguably probably the biggest winner of BlizzCon, which was Bob.
Yeah.
Her mech sidekick who immediately everyone fell in love with. So she's going to be in the game as the newest hero in Overwatch. And again, everything Overwatch does turns to gold right now.
Yeah,
so
pretty much.
They're hell of a franchise to watch. There was an announcement for Hearthstone's next expansion, Rostacon's Rumble. Don't really care about Hearthstone at all. Sorry. And before we get on to WoW, let's talk about the one big announcement that I think that they intended to have, which was the announcement of Diablo Immortal, the new game for Diablo for mobile devices. I don't know if I have ever seen a rollout go as poorly as this one went.
Yeah. And I felt bad for the gentleman on stage that had to deal with that too.
Wyatt Chang.
Yeah.
It was brutal to watch what happened with this, because let's jump into where Diablo is as a franchise just real quick. We're not going to talk about this forever. But there was a post that was put out on the forums, and we've talked about this before.
Mm-hmm.
There was a post that basically was put out by Blizzard to say, hey, I know you guys have all these expectations about Diablo, but just temper those expectations because we know what you want, Diablo 4, but good things come to those who wait,
Right.
Just relax. It was their whole thing. Apparently, a bunch of people took that to mean, oh shit, they're working on something. They're totally going to tell us something. Oh, this is going to be amazing. Reading comprehension is a skill. I will say that, and you have to develop it over time, but somehow, some way, people read that announcement as, oh, they're totally going to announce Diablo 4. Which, okay, you clearly need to go back to school. Because instead, what they did announce was a brand new game, which essentially takes place in the time period between Diablo 2 and Diablo 3, with a bunch of the characters that we know, and it's going to be on mobile devices. And by all accounts, the people who actually got their hands on it at BlizzCon really enjoyed it and said it was fun. I know we were watching it going, that makes a lot of sense. Mobile gaming is huge.
Yep. You want to drop some demons while you're dropping a deuce. You're going to go on your phone, It's like...
That's it. I mean, that is exactly it. While you're getting numb legs sitting on the John, you could be smashing on a bunch of demons from hell.
Exactly.
Sounds great. But instead, the people turned. And I have seen several positive reactions to it, but my God, the entitlement that we saw from the fan base coming out of that was unlike I think I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah, it was horrible because, and then you guys are developing this and not, no. Also, this was basically outsourced to a mobile company that does nothing but specialize in mobile games.
And there's an issue too that I think needs to be clarified to some degree. This isn't being completely parted out to some Chinese developer.
Right.
Because what would the Blizzard people be doing otherwise?
Right.
Like, it's a partnership.
Right.
So, sorry, please continue.
No. You're absolutely right. It's a partnership. You've got people who, they didn't just hand it over and go, here are our characters, go and develop a game for us. Put it on the phone and make it work. No. Whenever you hear any of the developers talk about the game, any of their games, there's always a lot of love and care that go into these games. So it's not like this developer came out and said, here's your game, and they didn't have somebody from, Blizzard overseeing the development of this and going, yep, you've captured the Diablo feel, you've captured the Blizzard feel. It's, that is Diablo. So there it is. And they did not also they didn't pull anybody off of a team to work on this. Like they put in the post, good things come to those who wait. The fact that this company's still developing Diablo games, man, let me tell you, I played Diablo back in it was like 90s. I remember finding, and then you had Diablo 2 and then Diablo 3. In all honesty, the game that could have used a a major announcement, and I think we touched on it before, was StarCraft. Like, I think we could use a StarCraft 3 before we see a Diablo 4. I mean, it would be like, it's like StarCraft it's behind at this point. I feel like it's behind. That's just me, especially with Warcraft 3, the Reforged coming out, which looks really interesting, and we'll touch on that. But it was real sad to see the crowd react the way it did, especially with that one douchebag that stood up with the red shirt on and was like, "Is this a late April Fool's joke?"
Yeah, I'm gonna quote that motherfucker who said, "Quote, just was wondering, is this an out of season April Fool's joke?"
Like, you had a chance to talk to the developers, like they were right there. You had the mic, and that's what you chose to go with.
I wish they'd have thrown that asshole out.
Yeah,
like, seriously. This is the kind of Q&A shit I always talk about, where it's how do you waste these opportunities? But just from a human-to-human standpoint, to stand there and to ask a bunch of guys on a stage in front of literally thousands of people if what they've poured their lives into, hundreds, thousands of hours of time into by who knows how many people, to ask them if their work is a joke?
Right.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, disagree all you want, but you don't have to be a complete passive-aggressive douchebag asshole about it. It just relax, man. They said multiple projects, multiple teams. They're probably got more love going on back there than ever for this franchise.
Yeah.
But you got to be patient. This is Blizzard, for God's sakes. It takes them forever to put shit out, but when they do, it's worth the wait. It's the blessing and the curse of being a fan of this developer. That's how it goes.
We're dealing with Blizzard soon. It's not the same soon.
Yeah, Blizzard soon TM, bro. Deal with it. My God. Deal with it. It's part of the process, but it's good. It's good in the end. God. Well, on to, finally, after 40 minutes, on to our own beloved franchise, Warcraft, which may not have had the super huge expansion announcement. It's not one of those kind of milestone BlizzCons for us. They did have some pretty good stuff in terms of World of Warcraft, Warcraft as a franchise, and I was pretty pleased with what we saw, beginning with they actually gave us a loose announcement, at any rate, for WoW Classic.
Yeah.
Your beloved WoW Classic, summer of 19.
Yeah, my beloved WoW Classic. Let me tell you what I'm not going to be playing.
Hey, at least it's part of your sub.
Yes.
Which they did say it was going to be part of the subscription. I did see a few complaints that, well, I only want to play WoW Classic, so does that mean I have to pay a subscription for it? The answer is yes. I saw some other people asking questions about whether or not there was going to be, we talked about this before, transmog, or if items were going to carry over, or if they were going to be using, certain modern things. And it was like, no.
That would be the one thing that got me to play. That would be the one thing that would get me to play, would be to be able to play WoW Classic, do enough PvP to get the points for that two-handed alliance sword, and then have a transmog over. That would be the one caveat where I would spend some time in WoW Classic.
Well, let me tell you, as part of the virtual ticket that I did purchase, I was able to get some time in on the WoW Classic demo. It took me 35 minutes to do one quest in Westfall.
Really? That's nice.
It was twice as fast as I thought it would take. Running across the entire zone, tagging stuff before anybody else can tag it. I mean, dude, Is it
at least new graphics, or is it old school graphics?
It is old school graphics.
Nice.
If you want it to be.
Oh, okay. All right.
And by that I mean the settings. As far as the actual graphics go, hell yeah. It's the old ugly human faces, and it's all the old stuff that you remember. It's the slow ass combat, it's the same music, it's the same sound effects. It took me back.
Nice.
Don't get me wrong. And as somebody who started playing in BC, Westfall was not that different, if different at all, with maybe a couple of minor quality of life changes by the time I showed up. So it was it was definitely a blast from the past, and now I remember why it took me so goddamn long to level to 70 when I first came along, and why entire weekends got lost, and I felt like I only did like 3 quests. So, I have a feeling that I'll level something slowly, as if I had a choice. But over the course of time, I will probably level something in Classic WoW just to enjoy seeing the old environment as it existed before the Cataclysm and stuff like that, which I do understand. It's kind of nice because we don't really do the Caverns of Time stuff anymore.
Right.
So it is kind of nice to get that little version of what used to be. But yeah, Summer of 19, WoW Classic. I know you'll be slaving away on that one.
Yeah.
One thing I also want to ask you is, will you be purchasing the charity pet Whomper, the baby Yeti?
I think it's cute enough. I think I'll buy it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna buy. I am probably going to pick that up, and it's also it's for a good cause too. So,
and will you also pick up the plushie?
I don't know about the plushie. I'll get the in-game thing.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's probably good enough. All right, now finally to the big guns. For us in the opening ceremonies, we saw yet another one of these full-fledged cinematics, primarily focusing on Anduin and Sourfang. Anduin basically going to Sourfang in the stockades, admitting that he can't defeat Sylvanas on his own, and either letting Sourfang go or inviting him to join him, or this is some kind of subterfuge by Anduin. But again, these cinematics and the quality is beyond the pale. I mean, they're at a point now where you can see the little tiny hairs on Anduin's face.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll grow a Captain America beard as he gets older. And this is how we'll know that he's finally reached the age of manhood. Is he'll have like a real rugged Uther style beard.
Oh yeah.
That would be perfect. But what did you think about this, man? Were you expecting this at all?
I wasn't expecting the Lost Honor cinematic at all, and I watched it a couple times and actually tried to watch it right before we started recording again because it is, there's a lot going on there. It opens up with Anduin looking at all the casualties of war and the last soldiers of Stormwind about to head out. And you've got Gen Greymane saying, we'll be calling up the farmers next. And, there's really nothing that they can do to stop Sylvanas at this point. So shit's bad. You get the, thing that shit is bad. And I want to get a shirt that actually says that, Alliance shit is bad at the moment. So
while you're in the updated Arathi Basin.
Yeah, exactly. And then it goes to Anduin going to the stockades to Seraphang's cell and having a conversation with him, and and he goes into why didn't you kill me back then, and Seraphang's like, I can kill you right now, and you can tell that he's humiliated. He knows that this war is not just. He knows that this is not the way the Horde normally is, and he's not at all happy with the current state of affairs with the war chief. So when I was watching it, it's funny because you go back in time to where Varian and he had the conversation to go so that when Saurfang was trying to recover his son's body, and now you've got the situation where Anduin's down a father and Saurfang's down a son, and there's a weird. It's not a bond. They don't have a bond, but they do share a
respect.
Yeah, there's a respect between the two of them. So I'm really interested to see what happens, and I also am dying to know what happens with that crucial decision that I believe that the Horde players are going to make in game. I don't think it's a thing that the Alliance are going to have. I think it's a thing that the Horde are going to have in game, where they're going to choose, do I follow Sylvanas? Do I follow Saurfang? So I actually leveled I'm leveling up my Horde tune right now so I can.
Whoa.
Yeah, I want to see that. I want to see that side of the story. So
you better burn that Alliance hat you're wearing, son.
I know. I'm actually playing my Horde Death Knight just to get him up a little bit because I wanted to unlock the Maghar orcs so I can play, but I think I'm just gonna boost up a regular orc to 100 or 110 and then just go from there and so I can have that story ready to go when when that happens. But it's a really we always say it, the cinematic team knocks it out of the park every single time, and it's this time actually it was really neat to see how they do the Anduin looks like Anduin, like the actor and Anduin look the same. The way they do that thing in the ball and they do the capturing and all that kind of stuff, that was really neat. The stop capture motion, they showed how that was one of the things that they showed how they make these movies. So it was quite interesting.
Just as kind of an aside, they had a video that they put up as part of the virtual ticket where they showed a little bit of how they make their cinematics. And we're not necessarily going to go into it today, but there was a panel, which was the Battle for Azeroth cinematics panel that was held, I think, Friday. It was Friday. And they went into a great amount of detail with the people involved in terms of how they go about storyboarding these things, how they go about capturing certain information that they need. And there was a little bit of confusion that I saw going around about how exactly the actor who was being photographed and filmed versus the animation, where does that merge? Where does that actually meet? And it turns out what it is that they use all of the photography and the video of the actor who looks like Anduin. They use that as sort of reference material because they still do animate by hand. This isn't like a motion capture situation. Apparently there was some verbiage that was used in one of the videos that kind of made it sound that way. But one of the producers came back, I think it was on Twitter, and said, no, this is reference material that we use. We still animate by hand.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So what they're getting like this high fidelity imagery, but they're still going in there and just doing it by hand, which to me just sounds insane. And one of the other points that this group talked about, the high detailed, fully rendered cinematics, was that they're used to that pattern of, okay, Warcraft, we make the big cinematic, and then when they're done, okay, it goes up on the shelf. But now you had the team coming back to that cinematics team and saying, well, we actually have a couple ideas for some other things we want to do, which now they're setting a precedent for themselves where every time we're going to be like, okay, we want to see these 4 cinematics per expansion, and why aren't we getting 5, and why aren't we getting all this stuff? So I hope they're not shooting themselves in the foot. But I was thinking about this, and if you played Diablo 3, there were actually several of these high-quality cinematics in Diablo 3 as you played through the game. So this isn't entirely unheard of that they have more than one per expansion or per game or whatever it is. It's just that you need like 2 years of lead time to know how to do it. So we got that. We got that amazing cinematic, which again helps further the story that they're trying to tell and help fill in a couple of the gaps of what's going on outside of our gameplay. And I was stunned and very appreciative all at the same time. The final big announcement that they had during the opening ceremony was Warcraft 3 Reforged, which, if you recall, they put out a HD version of Warcraft 3 not that long ago, which I actually bought for like $10 or whatever it was. They're doing like a full-on remastered edition with new character art and upgraded like the full cinematics, and they even showed the intro cinematic in its full modern glory. They also announced there's going to be a Spoils of War edition where there's a Warcraft mount and a whole bunch of other stuff. So I don't know, man. This is probably going to have to be on my Christmas list at some point. What do you think about this announcement?
I'm actually excited about that. I mean, I'd play through it. I didn't play through the whole game before. I forget what happened. I just think lack of interest in my RTS at the time. I think I was more into just doing the MMO thing than the RTS, and I think that's why I didn't finish playing the RTS at all. And I think it'll be something that I'll pick up, and it'll be something I'll pick up at some point.
There's so much lore for people who play Warcraft. Right. There's so much lore in Warcraft 3 that is relevant to the game that we've played in Warcraft and World of Warcraft. It's ridiculous. and there's stuff there that's still relevant to today. How far do you think you made it through? Do you remember?
I actually don't think I made it very far at all into the game before I was just stopped playing. I think I actually have the discs, and
Oh man,
yeah. So I mean, they probably don't even. I probably can't even install it at this point. It's like
I hear the Smithsonian is looking for that kind of stuff. Yeah, they had and again, there are a number of panels at BlizzCon that we're not going to go into today, and one of them was the Inside Warcraft 3 Reforged, where they talked about what they envision for the game, how they want to do things, how they're actually doing things. For instance, they're keeping, I guess the animations are going to be the same, but the character models are going to be updated. So they're trying to find that blend between the two, the old and the new, to make that work. But it looks like a lot of fun. I'm curious to see how much traffic that actually gets, because there's a lot of the people who played Warcraft 3 because it was so big that I think will come back and play it. If it's, I can't remember what the pricing is exactly. It's like $20-$30.
and you get a discount being a virtual ticket holder.
Oh,
Yeah, there's a discount. Yeah, so
maybe I should have looked into this more.
yeah, you actually get a discount of what is it, 10%, I think, on it. So yeah, it's definitely worth.
Save my $3.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
So if
I'll
you
take
get,
it.
yeah, actually, I'm sorry, it's a $10 discount applied to Warcraft 3 for having the virtual ticket, but it also applies to the Spoils of War edition. So it'll only cost you like $30. So yeah.
So there you go. Warcraft 3 Reforged coming on the horizon, and this is, I think, another one of those when it's ready
Right.
type things. But it looked really good. And I kind of wish that they'd let us play a demo of that more than we could have played Warcraft Classic. But that was the big announcement. So that was kind of the kit and caboodle when it came to the opening ceremonies. Gave us a lot to chew on already. But then, of course, came for us the panel that we wait for. Not yet the Q&A. That is one we always wait for. But the What's Next panel.
Yeah.
And we had known that there would not be a lot about 8.1 coming in this panel because, as it turns out, it's right around the corner. And they told us in that panel that Tides of Vengeance patch 8.1 will be released on December 11th. Are you going to be ready in time, Navox?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll be ready.
Have you accomplished everything that you need to?
Aside from the Tortolans, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Now I just need to level up my... I know it's bad, but I don't even level... I haven't touched my Alliance tunes unless I go to Raid, and I still have a lot of Alliance tunes sitting at 110 that I need to level up to 120. It's just... I don't know. I'm going to work on...
You're waiting for the catch-up mechanics.
I'm waiting for that catch-up mechanic. Exactly. Like, I just found out that the catch... Like, I thought... And what's interesting is, as I was leveling my Horde character, I actually thought, crap, now I got to go work on all of that rep. Nope. Turns out that I can actually just talk to two of the people in Orgrimmar and do the quest line and unlock the 2 Alliance races that you get from Legion. So then all I have to do is level up in Battle for Azeroth, and then I can unlock what I need to after I do that war campaign. But
there you go.
Waiting for the catch-up mechanic there. But yeah,
there you go.
I will say, I actually did get to see the entire BlizzCon What's Next, even though I didn't have the virtual ticket. But yes.
What?
Yes, I happened to see
How
that.
could you?
A lot of good stuff there, so...
Yeah, and as we've talked about, it's kind of one of those things about the value of the virtual ticket is you've got a bunch of websites out there that are pretty much live blogging it to begin with.
Yeah.
And they post videos. Like, how long did it take for the new Warcraft cinematic to get online?
I think it was online before they even showed it to anybody in like the
It was like instantaneous.
It was instant. And actually what's funny is I was playing a game. I was just tooling around on my in game, and somebody mentioned, "Hey, there's a new pet in the store," right before they announced it. So I mean, that pet went live while we were still playing before they even announced it. So that was, and then The honor video was actually out there prior to them also. So I mean, everything was pretty much instant. So it was nice.
Things to think about. Well, we did get that announcement, and they talked a little bit about what's coming in 8.1. I mean, we already know a lot of what it is. They did clarify that the Dazar'alor raid is not actually starting on December 11th. That I guess the raid zone will be in existence, but the raid itself will not yet be released. And I don't think they said when specifically that will be. So we have a little bit of time. So if you're still banging your head on stuff, like I know we are still trying to finish up on Heroic Uldir, you've got about a month, couple months, 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks perhaps, to get through the rest of that content before then, which would be nice. 8.1 will be furthering our war campaigns. They're going to have faction assaults. There's going to be new island expeditions. There will be perhaps some Warfront dailies. There will be Azerite updates and other system updates. So there's going to be a bunch of stuff. And fabulous.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And thanks to the WoW team for not putting a raid out prior to the holiday season.
Yes. Not having to worry about that. That was...
I like Ian's like, don't worry. You don't have to worry about it during the holiday season. I'm like, yes. Good.
See? They do care about us. As much as the forums say they don't. But what we were really there for, of course, is what's next. And that's, what does the future bring? What's going on after 8.1? And we did get glimpses of 8.15, and then 8.25, and then 8.2. So we know that in 8.15, you're finally going to get your Kultirans.
Yes.
Who have probably one of the best racial abilities I've ever seen. And I'm actually kind of mad that they didn't make this a warrior thing. Because for years, I've been asking for an interrupt that was a headbutt.
Yeah.
So the Kultirans get the haymaker, which stuns and knocks enemies back.
Awesome. That is so awesome.
So clearly a Kultiran warrior is...
Oh, yeah.
You just got to do it. And I expect you to make that your main from now on. Along with the Kultiran humans, there will also be the Zandalari trolls. Now, as far as the races go, I thought that there was a little bit of confusion between what classes the Kultirans could be. Did you get clarification on that?
I did. So, for the Kultirans, you're going to get the Druid, the Hunter, the Monk, the Priest, the Rogue, the Shaman, and the Warrior. Now, on the Wowhead site, they had also put that they would be able to be mages. Now, that may not be the case right now, but there's also something maybe we can transition and talk about. There's an interview with Alex Afraziabi, thank you. And he says he was even confused about that. And he said, why can't they be mages? And he said, I thought it was funny because he's like, I was a little confused by that, and we're going to look into that and have that discussion. And he said, even though I'm one voice, I'm pretty convincing. So we'll see where that goes.
Yeah.
So chances are we're gonna, Well,
there was a story told at BlizzCon this year about how they were having some issue in a meeting, and he texted somebody or called somebody to change the flow of the game or questing or something. So yeah, dude has pull.
He's got a little bit of pull there. Yeah. So
a little bit.
The big thing about the trolls though is that they get to be paladins. So yeah.
And how does that work from a lore standpoint? That the Loa are granting you the ability to use the light?
I don't know. I was trying to think about how is this going to work? Because they're low. I don't understand how the Loa how that works. If they worship Loa, or do they worship something else that is just light? Because they can be priests. They're able to be priests, but other than that, I mean,
Tyrion Fordring's ghost reaches out to you in the middle of the night and
This is how the light
convinces
works.
you to be a paladin.
Here you go. But yeah, so the Horde get the Zandalari trolls and the Alliance get the Cold Tyrans. I'm pretty excited about the fact that, I'm pretty excited about the fact that the Cold Tyrans get to be even shaman. That's pretty nice. So, but the Zandalari trolls, they get a full unlock of everything minus warlocks. I believe they can be druid, hunter, mage, monk, paladin, priest, rogue, shaman, and warrior.
No Death Knights.
No Death Knights and no, you know what? And I'm glad because Death Knight doesn't fit it. The Death Knights were a thing from
basically all Death Knights had to have been created by now.
Right.
So anything that happens
Right.
at this point in the quote unquote timeline, you can't go back and be a Death Knight now.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So, well, at least until the Lich King 2 Electric Boogaloo makes an appearance. And with your Kultiran, you'll also get another mount.
Yeah,
a horse.
Another horse. I'm okay with
Another
that.
horse.
I like the standard fantasy. I like the horse. I like the griffin, which we're gonna get another griffin, which is really neat looking. The blue silver looking griffin one.
That looked awesome.
It does look awesome. So I'll be happy when we get that.
That was a great one.
I wasn't too happy with the PvP mounts, the ground lizards. I don't know.
The basilisks?
Yeah, I wasn't too like.
Big crocodile?
Yeah, big. I wasn't. Yeah,
Not your thing?
Yeah, not my thing. No.
Well, they did have a couple of other things with 8.1.5 being that it looks like, typical with a 0.5 patch, there's going to be some other updates. They talked about an update to Children's Week, which, as far as I know, that's kind of been around for a long time without much other than you have to take these stupid kids around and you have to do that awful Eye of the Storm achievement where you have to have the kid and the flag, and that one's always a nightmare if you're trying to get that meta achievement done, but it probably needs an update of some kind. I think they add like a new kid from a new place every once in a while. They also talked about a couple of other micro holidays. My favorite, of course, being Free T-Shirt Day.
Yeah.
I don't know if the T-shirt's going to have anything on it, but listen, if it's free, I will take it.
Yeah.
The big thing, honestly, that I really liked as an announcement coming out of 8.1.5 were the new portal rooms that they showed that are going to be added to both Orgrimmar and Stormwind, where they look to be entirely new sections of those respective cities. I assume that the portal room is going to be in Stormwind Keep somewhere. I don't know enough about Orgrimmar to know where that portal room might go. But one, it was all brand new art and it looked amazing. But two, they also built these, and they said with the intention to add more portals to them.
Yeah. Quality of life
So-
stuff. They're listening, it's nice because I remember when he asked right up on stage, again, I'm so bad with names, so I'm just going to say he, I forget the gentleman's name at the panel. He said, so can anybody tell me where the portals to this, and this are? And there he's like, it's a trick question because there isn't one. So it's like, that's why they introduced the portal rooms. They're like, this will make it easier for everybody in Stormwind and Orgrimmar. And I am all for it. I'm all for it. Put all of our portals in one place. I don't know.
I think that was John Schwader.
Okay. And but I will say this, in Stormwind, the portals for Cataclysm aren't okay. I like the little circle. I like where it's at. I like the Mist's balloon. I like where that's at, but I guess it is kind of scattered in the grand scheme where the portals are just littering the area of like, here we're just going to throw them all behind Stormwind Keep there. And
well, yeah, you've got those 5 in that circle. Then you got one
in the Mage Tower,
Jade Forest. Yeah, and then you've got the Mage Tower, which has got a couple in there. And
yeah,
they are all over the place.
Yeah.
And I think as if you think about design philosophy in the sense that when somebody new comes in, how do they know where to go?
Right.
There is a portal room. Okay, cool. I know that I can go there, and there's 10 different places I can go. How do I get to the Caverns of Time? Well, you have to take this one portal that'll take you to another place, and then you have to take a portal from that place to that place, and then you'll be there. you know. But that portal, the first portal, is not in the same place as where these other portals are, and then you're lost from there. So, good call. I know that this is something that over the course of several expansions, they've gone back and forth on numerous times about having a portal room versus not having one. They used to have a bunch of portals in Dalaran, then they took them out. There were, portals in different places. You still have, I guess, the shrines in Pandaria that if you want to set your Hearthstone there, you can still go there. But it's a zoo. It's a zoo. And I was pretty happy to see that, along with the announcement that the Brawlers Guild will be returning, because I do love being down there. And apparently they're going to have a quest line where you get to solve a murder mystery.
Oh, nice.
So that's pretty sweet. I actually spent quite a bit of time in there during Cataclysm when I was kind of on the outs with the guild that I had at the time, because I just had my kid and I couldn't raid consistently at the time as often as they were going. And so I was not really getting to do much. And so I spent a lot of my time down in the Brawlers Guild doing my thing. And I've had an affinity for it ever since. Really love that place. I love the fights and the fact that you can't necessarily overpower all of them. You actually kind of have to
There's some
think about what
strategy
you're
to
doing.
it. Yeah.
There's some strategy, yeah. And I did enjoy that. One other thing that I wanted to touch on with 8.1.5 was that they are remastering Warsong Gulch and Arathi Basin.
Yes, I wanted to talk about this because I am so excited with these new assets that they're putting in game. They look amazing, and I hope that they take these new assets and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with them updating the outside of that in game. I know that there's a certain feel that is Warcraft when you're going through. You step out into the world, out of your starting area and starting zone, and all the buildings look a certain way. But the buildings that they redid here look really, really awesome, and I hope that those assets carry on outside of the battlegrounds, because they look incredible. They look really, really good, and I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with the other battlegrounds. But it also goes to show you that your voice is heard, because this has been something that people have been asking for a long time, is a remake or an update to the classic fun PvP games that we have. Warsong Gulch and Arathi Basin are iconic battlegrounds. Those are the ones that, they're still fun today. They still add the ones where you can just go in, like Warsong Gulch, when there's I forget what it's called, but where you don't have to have the flag at your base. It's just it's a nonstop capture game. Those are so much fun. But yeah, really happy to see that they're updating these things.
Did you play a lot of these back in the day?
I played a lot of them. Yeah, I mean, you started, I believe, if I recall correctly, I believe you could set foot in a battleground. I want to say, what was it, level 16? I think it was, when we were starting. I forget what the lowest level battleground was, but I remember having a rogue, and they were like, you should go do battlegrounds to level up, because rogues are really good in these things, and they really were, and it was a lot of fun. And I still play them to this day. Like if I'm leveling up a tune, I will still hop in to do like these older, I'll still queue up for a PvP battleground and get some easy XP doing that kind of stuff. You get a good amount of XP doing that, even if you win or lose. So,
well, and in the olden times, didn't you also have to go to the battle master at the place in order to queue up? Like you couldn't just hit a button and be like, yeah, sign me up whenever.
Nope. You stood outside. You didn't have a queue button. You went to the zone, and you just stood outside and you waited to go. That was it.
My God.
Yeah.
Those were the days of week-long Alterac Valley fights.
Yeah, it was like I know that. And it wasn't even that long ago where you'd have those long fights. It wasn't a week long, but I know that there were Saturday mornings where I would wake up and get into even an Alterac Valley at 8 o'clock in the morning, and it would go well into like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Those were, they were fun, but they were long too. So
not quite the stomps that they they became when I knew them.
Yeah.
So in the order in which they went in the panel, they actually went and talked from 8.1.5 to 8.2.5 to make a brief mention that I joked about this before. The new character models for Worgen and Goblins are coming.
Yeah, and I looked at them. I mean,
I couldn't tell any difference between the Goblins.
Okay, all right,
I couldn't
thank
tell
you.
for the
Okay,
Worgens.
yeah, the Worgen I could tell. The Goblin, I'm like, did they just make the smile bigger? What I mean, what am I looking?
Tell.
I mean, did they spray on some abs or something? Is that what happened? I
always thought the Goblins were actually pretty good.
I thought that they were the updated models. They were part of the guy. The people write in and tell me I'm wrong. You can tell me I'm wrong too. Wasn't it all part of Cataclysm? Wasn't that what? It was all part of Cataclysm.
They came in Cataclysm, and then they also updated eventually like all of the original races models. So like the human models that they have now, and you could go back and select to do the old school ones that you can see now in Classic, but they did introduce the updated models, and that was something they worked on for like years before they finally came out.
And well, they said that they were new skeleton models because they couldn't use the current assets. They had to do new assets for the Goblins and the Worgens. So those were brand new classes or brand new models altogether. So so you got an update. So if you play a Worgen, you play a Goblin, hey, you're gonna get an update. Ta-da! There you go. They're coming.
They're coming. Huzzah! Well, of course, if there's an 8.1.5 and an 8.2.5, as they mentioned, there must be something in between. So what is the big patch in between? And by God, we're finally going head-to-head with the Queen of the Deep herself. 8.2 Rise of Azshara will be upon us. And this is something that, going back to our discussion about Warcraft 3, the fight with Azshara is something that has been coming, like a direct boss fight type situation. This has been coming for 15 years. I mean, how long has it been in the game that this character has been around? The Naga have been around. There's been all of these things going on, but there has never been the head-to-head boss fight, full-on raid battle that we've had with, the other classic baddies of the past. Now, there was a Caverns of Time situation where you did see her in a dungeon, and it was a whole other thing. That's not her at the height of her old god infused powers. That's not what we're looking at here. But what we got is that essentially after the events of whatever's up to, whatever's coming up next for us, is that there will be ships going out into the ocean, and they're going to discover the recently raised and very ancient land of Nazjatar.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this too, because they even mentioned that we're going to have even a boss fight that's underwater, which will be really, really fun to hear everybody complain about.
I was going to say, are you sure you're going to enjoy that?
I did boss fights underwater. I did them in EverQuest, and they are exactly what you think. You are swimming and fighting. So yeah, I know exactly what to expect with that. I know a lot of EverQuest players that play Warcraft, and I'm sure if they heard that, they will, pull that memory back out where they've forgotten and just be like, oh my God, I can't believe we did that. But yeah, it'll be, I think it's going to be fun. It'll be a new experience for people.
And if you're somewhat of a lore junkie like I am, this is pretty cool in the sense that you're finally seeing, again, another land that we've always known about. We know that it's out there, that this is essentially, it appears to be anyway, is that Azshara is raising from the sea floor the ancient empire of N'Zoth, which was the Black Empire at the time, but Nazjatar, all of the the ancient cities, these night elf cities that existed that now have become these Naga strongholds, are all going to be coming to the forefront. And these are only things that we've heard about or they've hinted at. All of these things that were on the periphery are now finally coming to realization. And to me, those are always the moments in Warcraft I love the most, is when they hint, they beat around the bush, and then bam.
Yeah.
We're going.
Yep.
We're doing this thing. And they did announce that Queen Azshara will be the final boss in Azshara's Eternal Palace, which will be an 8-boss raid in 8.2. So, got to get your gear on. get your wading pants on for that one.
Wetsuits, yeah.
The other big announcement that I thought really just surprised the hell out of me, and I think a lot of people, and again, why I continue to tell people that I think Warcraft is really just reaching a whole other level is they announced the existence of Mechagon.
Yeah.
What did you think about Mechagon and the
The Mechagnomes?
Mechagnomes?
The Junker Gnomes? The
Junker Gnomes.
The Juncticons from Transformers, the animated version back in.
What'd you think about this?
I thought
It caught me totally off guard.
I think it's real interesting. It caught me off guard too because I was like, wow, okay, so they're giving the gnomes some love, and it's sure, they're gonna get their what do they call it? They're getting their, oh my god, the heirloom gear. They're gonna get not the heirloom gear. I'm sorry, the heritage armor, which looks really cool for the gnomes, and then they're getting this whole new area, which. And they'll probably be a playable race at some point. So you guys will have, look forward to that. I mean, I think it's pretty neat. I'm all for it. I'm not gonna, I don't play a gnome. I know a lot of people who do play a gnome, but yeah, it was kind of a neat little thing. It was something that I wouldn't even think about. It's something that I like those types of things. Like, hey, it wasn't on my radar. It's not something I was looking forward to. It's just a random. It was random. So I'm, I like that.
I could feel Frasley's head explode from here.
I know.
A gnome-focused dungeon. There's gonna be an 8-boss mega dungeon, and they'll face King Mechagon. King Mechagon will be the final boss, and who knows what's going on. But I thought it was interesting that, of course, introducing these mechagnomes, they had to provide them with a backstory, and essentially it seems like this weird sort of cybernetic, futuristic, cyberpunk kind of thing where in their society to have more augmentation makes you higher in class.
Yeah, they're weird.
That was really interesting.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how that goes. And, listen, that's a good base for an allied race.
And the other thing is we haven't had a Karazhan type raid, or I'm sorry, Karazhan type dungeon, because Karazhan was, it's a dungeon now. And that's why they said that this was kind of like, they wanted a larger dungeon like Kara, and that this is going to be mythic only, which is going to be really, really nice. So, yeah.
Well, it'll be something nice for your raid team to run.
Yeah.
On off nights or after you're done or those kinds of things. But I had to say, this was one of those things, and I said it to my buddy I was watching this with, is that, they were showing us the video of what Najatar is going to look like, of what this Mechagon place is going to look like. And I'm seeing all of the detail, all of the stuff that's being built, all of these things that they're showing us. And the thought that occurred to me, as it does when I see these things, is this is why I have such little tolerance for the people who say, oh, they don't care about Warcraft anymore, and nobody's doing anything, and they're just letting this die, or whatever.
Right.
There is so much time and effort and love and creativity that has to be poured into something to make what we see. And the fact that they're coming up with stuff like this and continuing to pump it out for us on what appears to be a fairly regular schedule now, and all praise to Lord Ian Hazzikostas for making this happen, that they continue to hit a stride with their content releases that, frankly, I don't think we ever thought would be possible. It really, again, demonstrates to me why I love this company and this game so much, because they are as committed to us as we are to them. And that was just something that I saw watching those videos. I'm like, they're not wasting time. They're not just dicking around. They're coming up with fun stuff to do. And I love it. I love it. Anything else about the Mechagnomes you want to say, or about Mechagon?
No. I want to jump on to some other fun stuff that we saw come out of here.
So one last thing before we jump off of this is that, so we know that 8.1 comes out in about a month. Sometime after that, we'll get their actual raid. Given the timing that we're looking at, my guess is we're probably looking at 8.2, maybe summertime.
Yeah.
Summertime-ish next year. I'm going to just throw a dart out there and say July, maybe. June, July, somewhere in that neighborhood, depending on the 8.15 roll out and when that is, but I'll just throw a dart out and say July. Looking at Warcraft a year from now, they didn't say much, if anything. Well, they said nothing about 8.3 or whatever comes after that. They did hint at N'Zoth by showing one little slide from the cinematic with the fish at the very end of the panel where it said "the end?" ? So I have a feeling that N'Zoth probably plays a role in 8.3. But given the timing of everything, a year from now, BlizzCon 2019, do you think we get another expansion announcement?
I don't know. Ian said that he wants to keep these consistent rollouts of updates happening. I don't know if we're going to see another expansion. I don't know if we're going to continue down another couple of updates. I don't know. I got nothing because I don't know where we have to finish up this first. I'm still trying to figure out how we're going to finish this up and how we're going to actually defeat Sylvanas, because we've still got that going on. I'm still like, hey, we still need to get Sylvanas here. But yeah, I don't know. How about you?
It's a weird spot because, we're trying to do the math here, right? And we're looking at down the road. By this time next year, 8.2 should be well out. Like, we should be somebody's already defeated Ajara by this time next year. Like,
right.
I think that's old news. And 8.3 will be known by then. Who is the last boss? Who is the next boss? Is there... Because I don't think they're going to do 8.4. I think 8.3 probably,
right.
8.3.5 is probably the culmination of the expansion. That will be known by this time next year is my belief. So, to me, you have to tell us what's next. And I've been saying it for a while. I'm still married to this idea, even knowing what we know now. I think 2019 will be a huge year for Warcraft at BlizzCon. I think we get another announcement, big one. I think it's one of the big ones, as they say. I think we gotta try to get in on that one next year because that's the one thing I have not seen. I was there when they announced Overwatch, and that was ridiculous. And I was there in 16 when there wasn't really a huge announcement of the same way. But if it's one thing that I would love to see in person at a BlizzCon is a Warcraft expansion announcement. That's definitely one of those bucket list type things when it comes to this. So that I would like to see. And one final thing out of this panel, they once again hinted at my goddamn bee mount, but I still have no idea where it's coming from.
Yeah.
So one day I will ride this bee into glory. I will raise my rep with the bee farmers.
Bee farmers.
I will ride that mount for 3 whole months and then get tired of it and go back to my time lost pro Drake. Because that's pretty much what always happens. All right. So that wraps up the What's Next panel from our end. There was, of course, tons more specifics and other information that came out of that panel. I highly encourage anyone that can to either rewatch the panel. Somebody apparently can on YouTube or somewhere else, I suppose. But you can read through the write-ups that are out there. We've got 8.1, essentially through 8.2.5. We know that the next major patch is going to be, so that's enough to get us all juiced up for now and thinking about what is down the road. Now, for the other panels, there were the Inside the Warcraft 3 Reforged panel, Battle for Azeroth Cinematics, Immersive Sounds of Azeroth. There was the Build-A panel, Restoring WoW Classic, our Warcraft Q&A. There was also another sound, audio type panel.
Yeah.
What were some of the other panels that you saw or you wanted to talk about?
Actually, I didn't get to see any of these other panels. One thing we didn't talk about, though, was the cinematic of the Terror of Darkshore.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
They gave us 2 cinematics at BlizzCon this year, and this one was with Malfurion and Tyrande, and it shows Malfurion throwing down big time, which we like to see. We don't like to see him get pushed around so much.
Yeah, he finally showed up.
Yeah, he finally showed up. He showed up and whipped some horde ass there. Yeah, so I think this is also introducing the whole Night Warrior thing that they're going on, and I thought that they encompassed the whole. It's going to be a new battleground that we'll be doing at some point. you know,
Whatever the Dark Shore Battlefront,
yeah, whatever the
Warfront
Dark
is.
Shore Battlefront comes from. But yeah, I like that. I managed to see that. I didn't get to see any of the other things because I didn't have the virtual ticket. So I got to see what I got to see. So, but how about you? What else? I mean,
So maybe in the end, there's the fatal flaw in not having the virtual ticket.
Exactly.
There's like 7 other panels that were related, but you didn't get to
I
watch
didn't
any
get
of
to
them.
watch any of them. Right? Exactly.
Well, I can briefly run through a few of them. Like we talked about with the Inside Warcraft 3 Reforged, they essentially just went through, they showed a bunch of screenshots of kind of what they're doing with the game and talking about their philosophy around building the game. I know that, I think it's MMO Champion had a bunch of these screenshots up, so take a look at it, and you can see the updated graphics that they're using. Really, I just like the updated cinematic that's like now the modern version of that orc and that human like smashing away out in that field, and then, oh shit, here comes this infernal flying out of the sky and just wrecking house and killing them dudes, and it was amazing. it was awesome to watch. The cinematics panel that they had for Battle for Azeroth, I'm always fascinated in how the sausage is made. So getting that peek behind the curtain of how they go about actually filming and building and storyboarding and talking about where things fit and why you want to tell this particular story in this setting and why you do this. Again, having Christy Golden as part of their in-house team, it's the greatest gift they ever gave themselves to hire
absolutely,
her. Yeah. She is just, she's phenomenal. If she ever leaves, then I really might get worried. But you get the sense that her and Taryn Gregory, I mean, she even said they have a meeting every day at like 5 o'clock to discuss what they've built that day or what's been going on. And it's this great collaborative process. And you like to hear that about that particular group, that story group, because, you know, they need to have that kind of bond to be able to get us to where we need to go with the story. So being able to see that was great. The immersive sounds of Azeroth, that was a lot of fun, getting to see David Arkenstone's band, the Tavern Band, playing a couple of songs that we know, and them talking about the philosophy of how they went through Drustvar and creating this spooky music and how they, the process involved in that, and generally how they do those kinds of things, I thought was very interesting. The world building panel, this was the Build-A panel from the virtual ticket. This was the one that was voted on. Being able to see the artists live, like going into a terrain and moving stuff around and deciding, okay, this is how we want this flow, and this is how we want to do all those things. Again, it's that nuts and bolts type view into things that I just absolutely love. And it was very interesting, way more interesting than I thought it was going to be. I was like, oh, this could be, intriguing to check out, because this is not something we see. But to actually go into the editor and see, okay, this is how we built Borealis. This is what it looked like originally. And then this was kind of a half-updated version of it. And now this is the more rendered version of it, not even the final version of it. To see that progression and how they build all this stuff, it gives you unique insight, but also an appreciation for what they do. The Restoring WoW Classic was basically a 45-minute or an hour panel of, this is why it took us so long to do this, because this is fucking hard. No joke. We have to use these assets from this old backup disk and this thing to try to match here, and this is not easy.
It's that bag. It's that one bag that fucks everything up that they can't change out ever.
Holy smokes. These guys are digging deep, and they really do have all hands on deck to help them create this project. Because Ian was out there talking about, we're going through these design philosophy ideas and saying, what do we keep? What do we not keep? Why? There's a lot of things about certain changes that could be made to make things easier or better for certain classes, but then that changes the metagame. And you can't do that because that's not what it was in Classic. So it's trying to really preserve all of this stuff. I got to give them a lot of credit because that looks hard as hell. I don't know anything about programming. I don't know anything about art assets other than what they basically vaguely are. It looks like the most impossible project. And I really have to give them their due for putting this project together and shipping it to us in a relatively short period of time. I didn't think we were going to see it as soon as we are. I mean, August is basically the latest they can give it to us. That's ridiculous.
The fact that they're putting a lot of time into this, too, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So, last but not least, of our panels, the Warcraft Q&A panel. Number one, I want to say a thank you to Ro, our buddy Ro, who went out there, once again, got the first question, who asked a great question about player agency. Essentially, you talked about this earlier, that choice between who do you back, Sylvanas or Sarfang.
Right.
And whether that's something that, going into the future, essentially how often are we going to see this? And to their answer was rarely, but we want to see how this goes because we don't want to make it trivial. We want it to have impact. We'll see how this works. So, Ro, thank you. I said this on Twitter, and I also messaged you personally, just saying I appreciate you keeping my spirit alive by asking a good question. But behind him in line, and I never thought in a million years I'd see this, was Chris fucking Metzen, who showed up unannounced, grabs the mic, essentially takes over the Q&A, starts asking, where are my Horde at? Where are the Alliance at? And just goes on this whole riff. It was amazing to see him and to once again feel his presence at BlizzCon, even through a TV screen, because there's just nobody like him and nobody does it like he does it.
Right.
And then he goes in to ask a question about basically where is Thrall and when does he get to be the war chief again? Did you happen to see this moment on YouTube?
I did see this moment. I thought it was good back and forth. I thought that was really, really good and awesome. I mean, it was awesome. Awesome job of Scott Johnson and he who coordinate this and set it all up. And it was good to see the back and forth with him and his his old team there. So I thought it was very special. I think it made a lot of people's BlizzCons very special as well because they weren't expecting Chris Metzen to be there, and he's still iconic. He's still a very iconic figure it'll never not be. So it's like if Chris is there, even though he's just there as you and I would go and we'd be there, even though I don't think so. I think he had some people with him, people to be able to keep people back if they needed to, like some bodyguards there. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's Chris Metzen.
Yeah, I know.
He can pretty much go wherever he wants when it comes to BlizzCon.
Yeah. But yeah, it was really nice. It was very special. That was real fun to see him there, and it's always energizing. It always energizes a crowd too when somebody like that shows up. So
yeah, and what energizes me is my my neighbor who's now outside my window mowing his fucking lawn. So sorry about the production quality of this podcast.
I can't hear anything.
Because
just letting you know, I can't hear it.
Okay,
so
right,
we're good.
This is what happens when you don't have a world-class podcast recording studio.
This is real this is real podcasting, okay? By the way, guys, I built on an addition to the house. We've padded it and insulated it, so it's all soundproof. It's very,
I got $10,000 worth of anti-echo
cheap
padding.
Jesus. This very cheap upgrade of $50,000 will let you podcast in the silence of your own home.
I'm a professional influencer now. Anyway, it was amazing to see Chris Metzen. I just exploded. In my seat. I mean, I was just beside myself. I was so happy to see him, and he seems to be doing well. Thank God. Neck surgery seems to be fine. His majestic beard is all in one place.
Yeah.
So great to see him, and God. I'll take it in any way, shape, or form. So hopefully, this is not the last we've seen of our dear captain. Lastly, there was the updated community night and closing ceremonies, both on Friday and Saturday. The updated community night was essentially a broken up talent contest where you had different cosplays under different categories. You had a musical group and contest, and the music. The guys who won, they basically have been trying to win for like 5 years. So very, very happy for them to finally win out. I would say that this probably was the BlizzCon of Darren DePaul because that guy was fucking everywhere.
Yeah, he was, in all the photos too. Yeah.
Yeah, he seems like a very nice gentleman who really loves being on live TV because he can get away with whatever he wants. So it was a little haphazard at some points, but he seems like a sweet guy. And congratulations, of course, to all the community night winners. Amazing cosplay. I can't get over how professional these things are now. It's not even funny. I mean, 5 years ago, I don't remember it being anything like what it is now. It is just beyond. And then for the closing ceremonies, you had this sort of staggered 3-stage approach where you had Train, you had Christian Nairn, and you had Lindsey Sterling, all on different stages. You know, I think it's a good format in the sense that you can cater to different people and you can try to have different acts so you don't have to worry about pigeonholing yourself into one particular vein or another. I would say, though, that if you're going to do different acts, try to get them to go the full time. Because then it's like, oh, you get 45 minutes of one major band and then you're expected to either leave or go wander to the next one. And I don't know if that necessarily works. I feel like it kind of got gypped. Plus, the thing didn't even go till 10. When I was there, Metallica played a full set.
Oh, wow.
They played a full 2 hours. It was no joke. It was a full show. So I like the format. We'll see what happens in the future, and hopefully we can get our value out of that one going forward. So that is our recap of BlizzCon 2018. Very full, lots of stuff. We didn't even touch on all of it. We probably touched on about half of it, if that. As this convention typically is, there's just a lot going on. There are going to be more articles, more interviews, all kinds of stuff coming out in the next couple of weeks. And you and I will be here to recap, of course, all of our favorite hits from all of that. But before we go, is there anything else about BlizzCon this year that you wanted to touch on?
No, not really. Actually, hang on. There is one. And doesn't listen to the podcast, but I just wanted to say, big thank you to Mike Morheim for everything he's done over the years. And even though he's not in the, captain's chair anymore, he's there. He has a little bit of influence. So thanks, Mike, for all the work that you've done, for Blizzard Entertainment as a whole.
Well said. Well said. And I also have some thanks to give. This is also being the season of Thanksgiving here, right around the corner here in a few weeks. Is our show was featured for the first time as part of the Con Before the Storm, the Pod Before the Con that we appeared on. Since we were not there in person, they were able to find a way to let folks stream in. And I really want to say a big thank you to Seraphis and Sia and Ro, who helped kind of arrange a lot of that stuff and bringing us on, allowing our show to participate. It meant a lot to me that after having done the show for a while, and even though I poo-pooed a lot of these ideas early on, you know what? I got to say, I really did appreciate it. To see our show logo show up anywhere, let alone our name on a shirt, that was kind of cool. I'm not going to lie, as well as showing up on a coffee note at Blizzard in their cafeteria, wherever that is. That's something that I never expected would happen. So a big thank you to all of them. I really do appreciate that, and I hope that in 2019 we can do something even bigger and grander and greater than ever before. As we hope to do looking forward. So I think that'll do it for this supersized episode of Unshackled Fury. Other than this fine program, where can the people find you on the internet, Navox?
You guys can follow me out on Twitter and Twitch. I'm at NAV_OX.
As for me, you can always find me on Twitter at Berzerker Rage. Feel free to contact the show with your questions, comments, or otherwise at unshackledfuryshow@gmail.com. And you can also find this show on SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, all that jazz. And hope you will tune in next time. So once again, thank you for listening. Remember to keep your swords wet and your banners high, and we'll catch you next time. Farewell.